Welcome to Whisper and Learn. In today's video, we'll dive into another engaging story to help you improve your English listening skills while enjoying a relaxing and stress-free experience. Each story is crafted to teach practical listening, vocabulary, enhance your comprehension, and provide meaningful life lessons. So grab your headphones, relax, and let's begin.
New York City never sleeps, not even during Christmas. The streets, pulsing with energy, were adorned with twinkling lights and garlands that hung like glowing necklaces over avenues filled with bustling crowds. It was a place where everyone was in a rush, to work, to shop, to see the Rockefeller tree, but few ever paused to connect. Evelyn, a recent transplant to Manhattan, had moved to the city for a high-profile marketing job. At 28, she thought she had it all. A sleek apartment in Midtown, designer clothes, and a job that paid well. Yet, as the holidays approached, Evelyn couldn't shake the loneliness. Her family was back in Ohio, celebrating with the usual chaos of extended relatives, laughter, and homemade pie. Here in Manhattan, she had no one. Work is my family, she often told herself, but even that felt hollow. Her neighbor, an elderly widower named Mr. Ramirez, lived down the hall. Evelyn often passed him in the hallway, but never exchanged more than pleasantries. He always seemed to be repairing something or watering his plants. He, too, appeared to have no one, though his tiny apartment radiated warmth, filled with the scent of cinnamon and the faint strains of old salsa records. Two weeks before Christmas, Evelyn's office hosted its annual holiday party. The rooftop venue overlooked a glittering Manhattan skyline, and the sound of clinking glasses and laughter filled the air. Evelyn's colleagues mingled effortlessly, but she felt like an outsider. Excusing herself, she stepped out onto the quieter balcony and gazed at the city below. It was there that she met Jacob, a freelance photographer who was covering the event. He was charming in a scruffy, unpolished way that contrasted sharply with the corporate crowd inside. "Taking a breather?" he asked, leaning on the railing beside her. "Something like that," Evelyn replied. "This time of year, it's just a lot." Jacob nodded. "Yeah, the city's overwhelming, but it has its moments. You just have to know where to look." They talked for hours that night, sharing stories of their dreams and their challenges in the city. Jacob, it turned out, was just as adrift. Though his work brought him into contact with many people, his freelance lifestyle left him feeling untethered. At one point, Jacob pulled out his camera and asked, "Mind if I take your picture? You've got this whole reflective holiday vibe going on." Evelyn laughed, feeling her cheeks warm. "Only if you make me look good." "That won't be a problem," he said with a grin, snapping a few shots. She smiled despite herself, feeling a spark of something she hadn't felt in a long time. By the end of the evening, they exchanged numbers and promised to meet again. Evelyn and Jacob began to explore the city together. One crisp December evening, they wandered through Bryant Park's Winter Village, sipping hot chocolate and marveling at the holiday stalls. Jacob brought his camera, snapping candid photos of Evelyn laughing or pausing to admire handcrafted ornaments. "You're really good at this," Evelyn said, watching him work. "Thanks. but I'm only as good as my subject," Jacob replied, his eyes meeting hers. The compliment caught her off guard, and for a moment the bustling park faded into the background. Later that night, as they walked toward the subway, Evelyn slipped on a patch of ice. Jacob caught her just in time, his arm steadying her. "Careful there," he said, his voice soft but teasing. "Guess I'm still not used to city winters," she replied, laughing nervously. "Good thing you've got me," Jacob said, his hands lingering on her arms a moment longer than necessary. Evelyn felt her heart skip, the cold air suddenly less biting. Days before Christmas, a massive snowstorm swept through the city, blanketing Manhattan in white. Flights were canceled, roads were closed, and the city's rhythm slowed. Evelyn's office shut down for the day, leaving her with unexpected free time. She decided to check on Mr. Ramirez. Knocking on his door, she found him bundled in a heavy sweater, struggling to fix a broken heater. His apartment was frigid, and his normally warm smile was strained. "Do you need help?" Evelyn asked. At first, he waved her off. "I'm fine," he said, but when Evelyn persisted, he relented. Together, they managed to get the heater working, and she stayed for a cup of hot tea. Mr. Ramirez shared stories of his late wife, Maria, and their Christmases past, filled with music, dancing, and family. "It's not the same anymore," he said, his eyes glistening, "but I still put up her favorite decorations. It feels like she's here." Evelyn left his apartment that evening, her heart heavier, but her resolve stronger. She called Jacob as soon as she returned home. "I have an idea," she said, "and I need your help." Evelyn and Jacob hatched a plan. If the city could make them feel connected, perhaps they could do the same for others. They decided to host a small holiday gathering in the lobby of Evelyn's apartment building, inviting neighbors and anyone else who needed a bit of cheer. They spent the next few days preparing. Evelyn baked cookies using her mom's recipe, while Jacob designed invitations and strung lights around the lobby. Mr. Ramirez offered his salsa records, and a group of children from the building helped decorate a small Christmas tree. As they worked late into the evening, Evelyn and Jacob grew closer. One night, as they hung garlands, Evelyn turned to Jacob and said, "I don't think I've ever felt this happy. Like I'm actually doing something that matters." Jacob stepped closer, his expression soft. "You're amazing, Evelyn. I've met a lot of people in this city, but none of them have your heart." Her breath caught as Jacob reached up to tuck a strand of hair behind her ear. "Is this the part where you kiss me?" she teased, though her voice was barely above a whisper. "Not if you don't want me to," Jacob replied, his lips curving into a smile. "I think I do," she said, and before she could second-guess herself, Jacob leaned in. The kiss was soft and tentative, but it left her feeling more alive than she had in years. That night, Evelyn and Jacob walked through Central Park, now blanketed in snow and twinkling with holiday lights. "I think we did something good tonight," Evelyn said. Jacob nodded. "It's funny. Everyone in this city's looking for connection, but we're all too busy to notice each other." Evelyn smiled. "Maybe it's not just the city. Maybe it's us. We have to make the effort." Jacob paused, taking her hand. "Well, you made the effort, and it made all the difference," As the clock struck midnight, the city's hum quieted just for a moment as snowflakes fell gently around them. Evelyn realized that home wasn't a place. It was the people you chose to share it with. In the years that followed, the Christmas Eve gathering became a tradition in Evelyn's building. Strangers became friends, and the city that never slept felt a little more like home. Evelyn and Jacob eventually started a nonprofit, bringing holiday cheer to communities across the city. The bustling metropolis still pulsed with energy, but for Evelyn, Jacob, and their neighbors, Christmas was no longer just another day. It was a reminder that even in the busiest places, there was always room for connection.
Thank you for listening to this story on Whisper and Learn. We hope you enjoyed it and learned something valuable today. If you liked this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories that make learning English fun and effective. Let us know in the comments what you think of this story or what topics you'd like to hear next. See you in the next video. Happy learning!